Bravo TV's hit reality franchise is taking on Rhode Island.
You guys dress different.
Oh, yes.
I don't think anyone looks alike. I don't.
I think that Dolores and Liz are twins.
That's
yes.
different.
Dolores and Liz look alike. I think that's what happened.
But I don't think any of us look like Dolores or Liz. I think Kelsey looks like Rosie.
Really?
All right, Andy Cohen and Bravo TV, NBC Universal, taking on Rhode Island inside the Real Housewives franchise, the hit reality show that started in Orange County 20 years ago and has had New York City, New Jersey, Atlanta, Potomac, D.C., Dallas, Salt Lake City, Miami. I mean, there's just so many. All right, let's get random and talk about this show. And of course, supporting is always helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, Patreon, etc., etc. So let's do a general first reaction of the new reality show in Rhode Island. What do they say? The smallest state with the biggest attitude or something like that? So here we go. As for Rhode Island, I love an East Coast TV show in general. Now, I've only been to Newport, Rhode Island, the Rose Cliff Mansions. Thank you very much for a wedding. And that was a lot of fun. So that's the only bit of Rhode Island I actually really know. So going into watching this TV show and seeing if the cast members would be compelling, it's a shock. I don't even know what to think, you know? And lo and behold, I think they're actually a good group of cast members. Now, that's not to say people who grew up in Rhode Island, think it represents the best, but character by character, I think they're pretty fun. So right off the bat, you've got Liz, you've got Alicia. There's a lot of storyline as far as, I knew this one back then, and I knew you from such and such, and I knew your cousin, and so-and-so was married to someone's brothers. It's just so much intertwined conversations and dialogue within the storylines of some of these more mature cast members, and I like to see that. Now, immediately, Joella is jumping off the page. I mean, for one, she looks like Topanga, Danielle Fishel. She looks like Topanga. She does. And she's got the sweetest, warmest smile, but apparently is also very in your face. Watching an episode of Watch What Happens Live, she was even funny. They did the agree or disagree with Andy Cohen. And I think one of the questions even was, who wants to sit in the first chair, or who's even watched the show prior. And she just answers exactly how she feels. She's never trying to score points. So Joella is definitely going to be an interesting watch on The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Now, Kelsey. Oh, I love Kelsey. I don't know what it is. It's being authentic with your situation, and it's going to go in a lot of different directions, but at least she's being honest with what it is. Unless we're going to learn more. And she is, of course, beautiful with the kind of money that she does have in the situation that she has. I mean, she's living a really cush life. Now, she's sort of waiting to advance her life, and get married, have kids, etc., etc. So maybe some changes will happen, but to live in a beautiful home and to have a relationship that's good most of the time, but then a lot of time off, it's going to be for great TV because it's something like we've never really seen in a long time. Now, I think the Rhode Island newscaster, she's funny. Yes, she is. I think she's going to be less interesting and compelling, but I think she's really sometimes you got the voice of reason and sometimes you have the comic relief. I think she's going to be the comic relief. I think she's going to be a little annoying, but in the best possible way. She's going to remind me of Drew on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Not that they're the same at all, but you know how you're always like laughing at Drew and laughing with Drew. I think you're going to get the same with the newscaster because she knows how to do TV. And remember, speaking of people who know how to do TV, I mean, Stacey, of course, on Real Housewives of Potomac, it worked out well there, so it should work out well here. All right, so Ashley is on the show. Jared, they also did The Bachelor together. And I guess she had a really good storyline. She was saving herself for marriage, stuff of that nature. So it's going to be interesting. They're great for TV. They know what they're doing. To have a Bachelor, cast members on this franchise usually doesn't happen, but the fan base from that may come over and enhance the show's, popularity or whatnot. Ashley just seems fun, and it seems like the reason she's on the show is because everyone's like Rhode Island 100%. If you didn't meet while you were growing up, you're like out of the circle. So Ashley becomes fun because her husband, of course, grew up in Rhode Island, but she's the newbie. So it's kind of like acclimating to being new amongst this new group of friends, cast members, And the real interesting thing or challenging thing is Audrey is the other woman, but not the other woman like that. Audrey is, of course, Jared's restaurant or coffee shop or something, but I don't know, naming it Audrey and just even having the illusion of like, oh, you're with Audrey, you're at Audrey's. I just don't like it. I don't know. Hopefully it only makes their relationship better, but like introducing, unless the name Audrey is for some reason, I don't know, it could be that. So let me walk that back a little bit. Maybe Audrey's like a very sentimental name for Jared. I don't know much about Jared or Ashley because I don't watch The Bachelor really, but from what I have seen, they are really, really fun. They were on Caitlin Bristow's show, and I mean, it's like they are really entertaining, and it seems like they'll be sort of like not the most popular in this group, but they'll be like perfect for the group, which is a good thing. Now, the debonair and just sultry Rula, they called her Rulala. Rula is just different, and she's poised. She's intentional. And she's uptight in the best possible way. We love an uptight cast member, yes. But the thing about those uptight cast members, can they hold it together? Do they start talking loud? Do they start waving that perfectionist moment that they try to always put forth? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see Rula throughout the season. And of course, bringing it all together, you got Dolores Catania as the friend of role. One will say one of the best friend of roles. Obviously, probably the best one to ever do it would be like a Real Housewives of Miami's Marisol. So Dolores, she gives the familiarity while Real Housewives of New Jersey isn't on TV. It's just another way to have her on and to kind of bridge the gap between these new cast members. She looks just like Liz. They looked exactly alike. I guess they went to the same plastic surgeon, so there you go. But as it goes, it is sort of hard to tell who's who. Alicia sort of looks like Liz as well. The thing is, as it goes, just like with Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Meredith and Lisa, at the beginning you couldn't tell who was who, and then all of a sudden, now you could never mix them up. So it could be one of those situations where you really learn these cast members and kind of get to know their own personalities, their own isms, their own personas. But all in all, I would say Real Housewives of Rhode Island, first impressions, initial reaction was pretty good. I think it's going to be a fun show. We want fun on reality TV. Sometimes the show's got a little too, polarizing, and I think this should be a fun watch. Seeing Rhode Island's going to be probably pretty interesting on, visually, and Bravo hopefully has another hit on their hands because reality TV is difficult, but it's nice to see cast members of a certain age, and, this is the genre that is escapism and feel-good TV, and I think Joella and the girls are going to make for a good season.